So truck drivers, how can one do the same job and have more left over at the end of the month? No, I won't tell you to work more or be away from your family for longer periods of time. Well, here are 8 things that you can do to have more net income at the end of the month. This is a guide to achieve 100% success when being an owner-operator. And the rest of you guys out there of thinking becoming an owner-operator, pay attention and don't be that guy that needs to return his truck because you can't make ends meet at the end of the month. This channel is all about trucking. And if you're not yet subscribed to this channel and are in the trucking industry, get on board as we have the latest data in North American trucking. I can also guarantee you that if you watch this video till the end, I will have showed you how you can do the same thing you're doing right now and save about $1,500 to $2,500 per month. Yes, let's get into it. First topic, not everyone likes, but I promise you the video is gonna get better. Let's talk about meal prepping. When we purchase food on the road, we might not notice that we're actually spending $20 to $25 per meal. Multiply that by 2.5 meals a day. And if you're on the road for 23 to 24 days per month, this could be $1,100 plus taxes and tips. Some drivers I see do meal preps twice a week and store ready meals in containers in their fridges in their trucks. Purchasing food at grocery stores, you are likely to spend around $450 to $500 per month. The second topic, using a good tax accountant. This is a golden rule. And if you're using a tax firm that does not specialize in trucking, you should immediately transfer your file to a company that does. That's why I recommend M7 Taxes that specializes in taxes for truck drivers. With over 13 locations, both in the US and Canada, they got you covered. They have helped out many of my drivers and they are extremely knowledgeable when it comes to trucking and taxes. I have seen them reverse multiple years for drivers that were not filing their taxes properly because they just used a regular tax firm that did not specialize in trucking and owner-operators. Third thing, let's talk about coffee. Some drivers will purchase 2 to 3 cups of coffee per day. McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, Timmy's, Starbucks. On average, a cup of coffee in the US costs about $2. On average, a coffee drinker like myself drink about 2 to 3 cups of coffee per day. Get yourself a machine in the truck and start getting into the habit of drip coffee or capsules. By making your own coffee, you could save anywhere between $125 to $150 per month. Also, this does not factor in the time you have to spend by getting out of your truck and sometimes waiting in lines at truck stops to pay for that coffee. Now, tip number 4, 5, and 6, we're going to group them together as they are more towards driving habits. We'll call them acceleration, cruise, and idling. With the cost of fuel being on average $5.50 US per gallon, any one of these 3 will save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month. How do you accelerate and how long are you on the cruise feature? There is a direct correlation between cruise control and fuel consumption. My job here as VP of Operations is coming up with creative ways to save money for the company. Drivers who do not use the cruise feature as much are more likely to burn more fuel than drivers that use the cruise option most of the time. The trucks are built to run in a much lower RPM than what we can do with our foot. I have done these tests many times with our fleet and it works. Being on cruise is more economical than your foot. Now, acceleration, another big indicator in our fleet. There is a feature in your truck that you can set your cruise speed before entering the highway and you allow that truck to accelerate slowly on its own. All the Volvos, the Freightliners, the Peets, the Kenworths, they all have these features in their late model trucks. Make sure you're using it. This uses optimal fuel efficiency while accelerating and limits the RPMs that are being used to accelerate. This plays a big role on fuel consumption. And now idling, the big one. And I need to put on my nerd hat on because we are going to do some math. A truck consumes a gallon an hour when it idles. On average, a long-haul truck driver will idle his truck about 12 hours a day. At $5.50 US per gallon times 12 hours a day, that equates to $66 US per day that the driver is on the road. Multiply that by 24 days on the road, now you have $1,584 per month. Now, this is just the daily cost and direct cost that you see immediately. But did you know that all the problems that drivers talk about, that the new trucks with their EGR problems, with their EGR valves, with their sensor issues, with their DPF filters, well, I'm starting to notice more and more that most of those problems stem from excess idling. So in our fleet, we have the battery and diesel APU units. So this helps us prevent idling, and we don't see a fraction of those problems that most people complain about. You can be certain that the resale value of a truck with 3,000 hours with 600,000 miles is worth more than a truck with the same mileage, 600,000 miles, and 5,000 runtime hours on its engine. See what you can do about limiting your idle time. Again, every hour you're idling literally costs you $5.50. The next topic we'll get into is proper PTI. A proper PTI will help you catch things that are wrong with the truck and avoid breakdowns. This will eliminate unnecessary downtime. A good example of this is rubber. So many times I see owner-operators running their tires down to the legal limit, but it's one explosion that will set you back and make you pay 25% more for those tires on the road. Plus a service call. Do you really need this headache? Oil changes. Have a place that does your oil changes regularly. Filters. There are recommended times that you need to change your filters. Very important, DPF filters. Don't delay it. It can save you from an expensive tow bill. Next, using a fuel app. There are some places on the interstate highway, we all know this, where the closest station is by far the most expensive than the fuel stations that are 2 or 3 minutes down the road. I have many owner-operators that will fill up 20 or 30 cents per gallon cheaper than those stations that are on the interstate highways. Start getting creative, use a fuel app. And into our next topic, properly financing your truck. Now, I have spent a full 20 minutes talking about this in a separate video, and with over 60,000 views for that video that was published about 6 months ago, I must have said something right. So if you do want to know more on this topic, make sure you watch that video right after you watch this one. It will teach you all the scams that finance companies pull on truck drivers. Now, I'm not a fortune teller, but during these tough times, and they say there's a recession headed our way, I see that we in our industry need to be a little bit more creative, a little better, and in some competitive advantage. Now, with these 8 examples that you were giving in this video, you can easily save about $2,500 just by adopting about 3 or 4 out of the 8 tips. So here's a way for you to thank me for spending all this time on putting this video together. Share the video or put a comment down below. I'm Ronen, R-O-N-E-N, and I'll catch you in my next video.